Welcome to Village Hall. If I can ask everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Good evening and welcome to our July board meeting. This evening we have two public hearings. Then we will go through our agenda, followed by board comments. Then we'll open it up for our residents' questions and comments after that. So with that, I'd like to start with the first of our two public hearings, and we'll start with 144 Tulip. And if I could ask Ms. Walsh to read the legal notice.
Thank you, Mayor Fitzgerald. Legal notice of public hearing, Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York will hold a public hearing at Village Hall, 1 Floral Boulevard, Floral Park, New York on Tuesday, July 18th, 2023 at 8 p.m. in relation to the following application. The application of Demetris Dimitro, representing Peter Julis, tenant of Horse Hill Property Management, LLC, owner of 144 Tulip Avenue, Floral Park, New York, 11001, for a special use permit at property located at 144 Tulip Avenue, Floral Park, New York, under Article 3, Chapter 99, Section 99-10B2 of the zoning ordinance of the Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York, states in a B1 district an alteration to a retail store which prepares, stores, or sells food requires a special use permit authorized by the Board of Trustees after a public hearing. The structure for which said special permit is applied is situated on the southeast intersection of Tulip Avenue and Violet Avenue on the south side of Tulip Avenue and known as Section 32, Block 120 and Lots 419 on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map and known as 144 Tulip Avenue, Floral Park, New York. A copy of the application is on file in the office of the village clerk, 1 Floral Boulevard, Floral Park, New York, and may be examined by any persons interested therein during business hours, Monday through Friday inclusive, except legal holidays from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Now take notice that all parties and interested citizens will be given the opportunity to be heard at the aforesaid time and place by order of the Board of Trustees, Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York, Susan E. Walsh, Village Clerk. The legal notice was dated June 30th, 2023, and it was published in the official paper of the Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York, and posted according to law, and was sent to the Nassau County Planning Commission and pursuant to Section 239-L&M of the General Municipal Law, determined to defer to the village to take action as deemed appropriate.
Thank you, Ms. Walsh. I'd like to place on the record that the applicant has previously filed an affidavit of service indicating that all neighbors within a 200-foot radius of the dwelling had been served with notice. I'd also like to announce that the board has previously adopted a resolution determining that the application does not have a significant impact on the environment as defined by the State Environmental Quality Review, SEQRA. I'd like to now invite the applicant to come up and give us a brief overview of what the request is.
Good evening.
My name could be sworn in by the stenographer first. I apologize.
We both be sworn in. He's the owner and I'm the architect. Thank you. Thank you.
I do.
My name is Dimitri. I'm Jeremy Madeline, Floral Park.
I'm Peter Jules. My address is 12 Jonathan Avenue, Hicksville, New York, 11801. G, like in George, I-O-U-L-O-S is my last name, and Peter is my first name. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in this evening. And if you could give us an overview of what the application is.
Yes, this is.
If you can step up to the mic.
Yes. This is an application for a restaurant that was already a restaurant, as we all know, since we live here. And Mr. Julos got the lease to continue with Greek food establishment. And as of now, the restaurant was just with a wedding area and not a seating. We followed through the protocol and we went in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals. We got approved for 21 seats. And here we are asking you for your special permit to continue and operate the restaurant with those seats.
Okay, I guess, well, we have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Whoever can answer this. What are the proposed hours of operation and days of operation?
As of
Yeah, sure.
what I know, the hours of
Welcome,
operation.
Mr. Julios.
7 days a week, like 11 to 9 operation, 7 days.
But then we might extend it a little later.
It's possible, yes.
If you could give us what you ultimately want would be preferable. 11 to,
I think to 11.
11 to 11,
and that's Monday, a Sunday.
Monday to Friday. I mean, 7 days a week,
7 days a week.
Monday through Sunday.
How many employees do you anticipate having on site at any time?
I plan to start with like 4 or 5 employees between myself and my son, because my son is going to be operating with me. So a total of 5 employees, 4 to 5 employees to start with.
Okay. And I read in the zoning board hearing that there was talk about where the employees will park. Did you come up with a conclusion on
Yeah,
that yet?
we're gonna purchase 2 parking spaces.
I guess my last question would be, deliveries. When do you expect deliveries into the establishment?
The deliveries in the morning, like when we open up, like between like 10 and 12 o'clock, because somebody's gonna be there at least a couple of hours to start prepping before we open up. So that's the time we're gonna have the deliveries.
How many days a week do you expect the deliveries to
The
come?
deliveries at least 4 to 5 times a week. We try to bring in, our, the purveyors and the supplies fresh.
Mhm. Obviously, it's a busy block, busy corner. Where do you expect the trucks to unload?
Most likely on Main Street in a parking space, if they can.
Or also
On
Or-
Tulip
or-
Avenue or on?
Or if, an Iris, no, I don't.
the side where
The side
Iris,
of
yeah,
the
okay.
store.
All right, that's all I have right now. I'd like to turn it over to my colleagues and we'll start with Deputy Mayor Pabana.
Good evening and welcome. Could you describe what your business will be like? We know you have seating for 21 and that's exciting. What other features will you have? Will you have takeout? Will you do deliveries? Do you expect that you'll be using companies like Uber, DoorDash?
Yes, I do expect to have Uber and DoorDash deliveries. Yes.
and you will have delivery.
And also myself, I would have my own drivers, delivering food for pickup and deliveries.
Have you thought about parking availability for your son or who's ever doing deliveries as well as Uber and DoorDash? That's a pretty crowded street there, and there is parking, metered parking there, where you have people parking for an hour, sometimes 2 to do shopping, etc. It sounds like a lot of coming and going. I mean, first of all, your restaurant customers will be there for a meal, but these others will be in and out and in and out. Where do you see them parking if there are no spaces at all, which is entirely possible?
Well, I guess if they find a parking space, they will drop by, to pick up the food. Otherwise, you're gonna wait to find a spot to pick up the food. And I don't think they're gonna, interfere, traffic.
Yes.
Also, talking with Mr. Julius, he was also hoping a lot of the people getting off the train to pick up their orders, place their orders while they're on the train, and have it ready. A lot of us living in town, drive by, pick up and go. That's mostly the business.
Mhm.
expected.
It is a great place for street traffic like that. getting
Right,
to
yes.
them. That's
And
great.
walking traffic.
Just think about as you do your planning, keep an eye on what the street looks like
Yes,
there
of course, of
in
course.
terms of people parking for other restaurants as well. But even during the day, parking is challenging on
Yes,
that block. And there's no double parking at all because there's only
Of
one lane
course.
of traffic on Tulip.
Yes,
Okay,
I
thank
agree
you.
with you.
Thank you. Trustee Chiara?
Sure.
Welcome. How you doing tonight?
Hello.
We're always interested in the storage of garbage and how you're going to dispose of your garbage at the facility.
Well, we have a private carting company that will pick up the garbage 6 days a week. That's why I'm going to agree with them.
Days a week. Any plan on using the dumpster?
Dumpster, not the time being, in the beginning, but I will see if I need a dumpster, I will put a dumpster.
And within the restaurant, do you plan on serving alcohol?
Yes, in the future, yes.
You're gonna have to get it.
I'm going to apply for liquor license.
And also in that same vein, any planning on having some live entertainment or live music in place?
Live entertainment in the future, when everything goes well, I could put maybe a Greek night, like a bouzouki night, a soft music, where I can, I don't disturb, the neighborhood, something light.
And you have an expected opening date at this point?
Expecting opening day.
Yeah.
We would like next.
I would like to open. I think with construction you can never expect the exact dates because construction, nothing is on time. I wanted to be open earlier, but the way things are going, probably in a month and a half. I hope to be open before Labor Day. That's my plan at the moment.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Just sticking with you're done, right?
Yes.
Just sticking with the live music for a moment. So your request is that you will have live music inside, correct?
No, that's in the future. It's in consideration. Considered. Nothing is guaranteed.
I believe if I read the drawings correctly, the doors swing open so that the doors on the side will open up. Is that correct?
Yes, but there's a cable railing that prevents the people from the street to walk in or the vice versa, the diners to go out. It's also a code requirement that there's a trip hazard. So those rail guards are there on a purpose. They have not been installed yet, if you happen to pass by and noticed it. But the feeling behind it was to fold them open and have that indoor-outdoor experience. And of course, visually makes the space bigger and happier. But there are rail guards not to allow people to go in and out freely.
Do you envision having live music with those open?
No,
No,
I don't envision. No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Trustee Stewart?
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
I had some questions about the sliding doors as well. With that, we have a policy regarding outdoor dining. I'm sure you've seen around. Is that something that you would be interested in pursuing at some point?
Yes.
An outdoor dining
Yes.
permit?
Yes.
I'm not sure that it's viable. The sidewalk is narrow.
Yes.
I'm not making any guarantees. I was just.
I would like to have outdoor dining for the seasonal outdoor dining. Yes.
But Tulip Avenue is kind of,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
on Tulip Avenue, it's kind of difficult.
Yes,
There's
agreed.
no room for it
It's
to,
Only on Violet.
yeah.
On Violet.
Iris.
Oh, Iris or Violet?
Violet.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I got
Violet.
my flowers mixed.
That's what you're injuring.
Not that I'm opposed to live music or any kind of music, but with the doors open, then, people on the street or, like you said, it invites
Yeah,
people in, but that I guess you'll deal with sometime in the future. How will you store your garbage while you know, as it accumulates throughout the day, was as you're waiting for the Carters to come?
Yeah, we'll take them out in the night after we in the basement, and then in the evening when we close, we take it out.
There's a difference between taking it out at night and putting it in the basement. So which one is it?
Well-
All day will be in the basement.
Yeah, all day it's gonna be in the basement, and at the end of the day, we bring it out and we put it on a curb and they pick it up.
And when would you expect the Carters to come?
But well, they have their own time schedule. That's usually overnight. They come.
There are people who live, you know, there are residents
Yes,
down Violet and above some of
Yes.
some of the stores. So we,
I could tell them to come after I close. I could tell them to come by.
so you'll set that up for
Yes.
sometime in the midnight hour.
Yes, everything's gonna be set up in the midnight hours. Yes, correct.
I really don't have solid spatial relations as I'm looking at the drawing. So the seating is right when you first walk in. That's what I'm
Okay,
looking at.
yeah.
All right, thanks. That's
Most of the back of the space is the actual kitchen and preparation area.
so your space is the first floor in the basement.
Yes,
All right, thanks very much.
thank you.
Can you get us the approximate times of when the garbage will be picked up?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Fine. Trustee Longobardi?
Oh, good evening and welcome.
Hello.
Everything's been pretty much, questions I had have pretty much been answered. Just curious if you have any other businesses anywhere, any other restaurants?
I had a business in the city
Oh, okay.
prior to COVID, and I had to shut down.
Got it. Okay.
And COVID put me out of business.
Yeah.
I was on 14th Street and 6th Avenue, close to the meatpacking district,
Okay.
for a good 13 years.
Ah, okay.
But then COVID eventually, shut a lot of businesses, and one of the business that was shut down was mine.
Right. Yeah.
And we
Okay.
couldn't hang on with the expenses that we had.
Welcome to Floral Park and hopefully better times.
Very
ahead.
much.
Thank you.
He has been, as a parenthesis, in Flora Park for a while, working here, and
Yeah.
he enjoyed being in the.
I was working at the diner across the street.
Right. I just meant your own business. Welcome.
So the moment I came here, I fell in love with this town.
Great.
So I decided to make, my investments in the town,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know you have your favorite question. but-
On two Avenue North spots in the village, a lot of establishment liquor licenses, as opposed to the village filing objection for liquor license application. Stipulating that your liquor license will reflect the hours of operation, and be limited to that, be amenable to that. Amenable to leaving your liquor license hours restricted to 11 to 11. I think it would say.
I would think so, yes, because it's only to serve while people are dining as opposed to passing by to grab it. Yes.
Any other questions on the board right now? No. If you don't mind taking a seat for a few minutes while I open it up for questions. Yeah. Gotcha. Is there anyone here in Village Hall that has any questions about this application? Seeing none, is there anyone on Zoom that has any questions? If so, raise your hand, Darlene will let you in. Oh, okay. You want to come back up? Yes, come back up if you don't mind. Just come back up to the podium. Any further comments, questions? No?
No, really. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and we hope that we'll be approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like to ask the board for motion to reserve decision and close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Walsh, can you poll the board?
Trustee Pombana,
Aye.
trustee Chiara,
Aye.
trustee Stewart,
Aye.
trustee Longobardi,
Aye.
and Mayor Fitzgerald.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
Good luck.
You want me to call them up?
Oh, I didn't know they were-
Good evening.
Oh, you can. All right, if I could ask Ms. Walsh to read the legal notice.
Thank you, Mayor Fitzgerald. Legal notice of public hearing, Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York will hold a public hearing at Village Hall, 1 Floral Boulevard, Floral Park, New York, on Tuesday, July 18th, 2023, at 8 p.m. in relation to the following application. The application of Floral Park Depository 1929 Realty Partners LLC of 99 Covert Avenue, Floral Park, New York, is made in accordance with Article 3, Section 99-10B of the zoning ordinance of the Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York, which requires that when a change of use from a bank to a restaurant with seasonal outdoor dining in a B1 district, the use may only be authorized as a special use after a public hearing. The structure for which said special permit is applied is situated on the west side of Covert Avenue and on the northwest corner of the intersection of Covert Avenue and Clayton Avenue, and known as 99 Covert Avenue, Section 32, Block 272, lots 23-29 through 29 of the Nassau County Land and Tax Map. A copy of the application is on file in the office of the village clerk, 1 Floral Boulevard, Floral Park, New York, and may be examined by request for any persons interested therein during business hours, Monday through Friday inclusive, except legal holidays from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. Now take notice that all parties in interest and citizens will be given the opportunity to be heard at the aforesaid time and place. By order of the Board of Trustees, Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York, Susan E. Walsh, Village Clerk. This legal notice was dated June 30th, 2023, and has been published in the official paper of the Incorporated Village of Floral Park, New York, and posted according to law, and was sent to the Nassau County Planning Commission and pursuant to Section 239-LNM of the General Municipal Law, determined to defer to the village to take action as deemed appropriate.
Thank you, Ms. Walsh. I'd like to place on the record that the applicant had previously filed an affidavit of service indicating that all neighbors within a 200-foot radius of the dwelling have been served with notice. I also like to announce that the board has previously adopted a resolution determining that the application does not have a significant impact on the environment as defined by the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA. Good evening and welcome. If you could raise your hand, state your name, and raise your hand to be sworn in by the.
I do. Michael McGuire, 94 Violet Avenue, Floral Park, New York.
Mr. Garvin, you going to be speaking also, or?
Yeah. Kenneth Garvin, I swear. Kenneth Garvin, 545 8th Avenue, New Hyde Park.
Good evening and welcome.
Hello, how are you?
If you'd like to go over an overview of what you're proposing.
Sure. We propose opening an American Bistro in the building. It was previously approved for a larger scale project. We've since scaled it back now that I'm involved. We want to keep the building very similar to the way it is. Ken and I and Dean, who's a principal here, Dean Hatzidakis, we appreciate how beautiful that building is and how important it is to Covert Avenue. So we propose an American restaurant in that space with outdoor seating, and the footprint will remain essentially the same. You should have a floor plan there. We're just boxing in at the back where one of the drive-throughs was previously, just to extend the kitchen area. The parking has been approved by zoning and extended. We propose, an upscale American restaurant. So I have, Ken and I are stand ready to answer any questions.
Okay, obviously, we're gonna have a couple. What are the proposed hours?
12 noon to 2 a.m.
I'm sorry, 2 a.m.?
2 a.m.
That's a change from what the previous was, right?
Yeah,
And is that what days of the week?
these 7 days.
7 days,
Yeah.
12 noon to 2 a.m. Okay. I mean, I guess what I'd like to do to make it a little bit easier to go through some of the questions. The previous application, there was a lot of conditions put on it. I'd like to read those conditions, and if you could say you agree with what they are, or if there's some change to it, okay?
Okay,
I'd just be easy to get a lot of the questions out of the way and make it similar to the previous application. The last application, there was an agreement that you would, if you obtained a New York State liquor license, that the hours of operation listed on the liquor license would be the same as the hours of operation that you just stated.
we'd agree to that.
The next one was an 8-foot high barrier wall would be erected on the westerly border of the property and would be acceptable to the superintendent of buildings.
I'd like to revisit that. You know, I don't know that it calls for a stationary wall. I mean, I think something heavily landscaped with noise mitigation, but you know, that can be reviewed if I mean, we expect to be good neighbors.
The site plan that we issued,
Mhm.
it shows a change from the previous application where we're doing a hard fence, 6 foot high at the north part of the property. And then when the property steps to the west, we're going to do arborvitaes or 8 foot high evergreen trees all the way to the side street.
That's Clayton.
That's Clayton.
Clayton.
We're
You say
proposing to do that in lieu of the wall.
That's 8 foot high to start with. I mean, something you could buy.
Plus or
foot high.
minus
Yeah, okay.
6 foot.
Yeah.
I know, right, but
Okay.
they'll grow to 8 foot.
The next one was refuse shall be kept in a refrigerator area inside the premise and shall be placed outside no sooner than 12 hours before the pickup by a private carter 2 times per week, and that would not happen no earlier than 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay. Outdoor dining shall be limited to table seating, and there shall be no bar in the outdoor dining area.
Yep.
There'll be no outdoor music at the premise.
I'm sorry.
There'll be no outdoor music at the premise.
Correct.
No outdoor lighting shall shine upon any neighboring properties, and the lighting plan shall be approved by the superintendent of buildings.
Yes.
A roof ventilation filtration system shall be installed so to minimize odors and direct fumes onto Covert Avenue, and a plan for same shall be approved by the superintendent of buildings.
Yep.
Okay. No employee shall park on Clayton or Cunningham Avenues, and patrons shall be notified that they should not park on Clayton or Cunningham Avenues, and such notice shall be placed on the website, signs, and menus.
Yes.
During the renovations of the building, workers involved in the construction shall not park their vehicles on any residential streets in the village.
Yes.
I think there's 3 more. All deliveries to the restaurant shall be made in the parking lot adjacent to the restaurant to the north.
Yes.
There shall be no valet drop-off or pickup vehicles on Clayton Avenue.
Correct.
And the public entrance to the restaurant will be on Covert Avenue, and the proposed basement and kitchen doors on the western side of the building will be limited to employee and emergency ingress and egress, which shall remain closed at all times unless open for a reasonable period of time to permit employee ingress. And
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Hopefully that answers a good number of the questions. Now I'll turn it over to Deputy Mayor Lynn Pabana.
Mr. Garvin, I noticed you brought diagrams. Do you have a presentation as well?
It's basically what you have in the handout. The only thing that's new that I believe Renee distributed to the group was a rendering of what we're looking to do architecturally, which is very simple. We're trying to maintain the same brick back 12 feet from the western wall. And then we're going to go north along where the drive-up lanes are, right where the columns are right now. We're going to try to maintain that structural system and work with it. And then go back to the building on the north side to match up where the north wall is of the building. Renderings for anybody to look at from the public or themselves. We do have renderings of proposed COVID Avenue view and a view from the parking lot looking at the entrance on the north side. And I also have photographs of the existing conditions if anyone needed to look at that.
Could you just show those to the audience and turn around so they can see them?
If anybody wants to ask questions about it, I'll be here to happily answer.
Very good. Just didn't want to skip anything important. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you both. Thank you for your presentation. So much of you described about the restaurant looks lovely, and I think a lot of our residents will appreciate it. As we mentioned with the last application that was here for 144 Tulip, and you all know what our challenges are when we open good restaurants, and that's the parking. On Covert Avenue, it's particularly unique and challenging because not like Tulip where you can go down side streets and get out and have cross streets and park on parallel streets. The restaurant will be nearby two dead-end streets that are quite short, as you know, Clayton and Cunningham. There are no cross streets. Once those looking for parking go down those streets, they are stuck in a dead end with no alternatives but to start doing U-turns there. Hopefully not parking across driveways, although that happens already. And we need the restaurant's help in any way we can. We mentioned on the menu, we mentioned signs. One of the things we had talked about several years ago was suggesting that they park across the street in Stewart Manor somehow, parking down the street towards Key Food where in the evening hours there are spaces, but doing everything we can to avoid patrons going down into those dead ends. It really will be, it'll be tough for them, and it won't be ideal for the restaurant because you'll have customers trying to get in there to make their reservation time and stuck possibly down there by traffic going in and trying to get out at the same time with cars parked on the side. So with that said, do you have any other ideas as to how we can mitigate some of those parking concerns, which are real?
Well, first of all, we're providing 17 parking spaces, which is unusual right now. I mean, most of the restaurants in Floral Park aren't able to provide any. So
How many spaces? I'm sorry.
17.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, I can only give you anecdotal information right now. I haven't done a traffic study, but the truth is
We did one for their-
initially there was a traffic study, but I mean, there in the evening, which is primary business, I mean, there's plenty of street parking. We will make it a condition of employment that our employees can't park in those streets. There's a municipal lot across the street. They'll be encouraged to take that public transportation. I mean, luckily younger people are taking more and more public transportation and they're not driving their own cars. You know, so all we can do really is control our employees first of all, and then we can encourage our customers, signage on the sign, signage on the menu. Please be respectful of our neighbors. As you know, I have extensive experience in the village with dealing with neighbors in municipal parking lots, and I have a solid reputation for communicating with my neighbors. So I expect the people on Clayton Avenue to be able to communicate to the restaurant or Cunningham if there is an issue. You know, they won't have to call the police. They can just communicate with us.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be appreciated,
Yeah.
that availability to work together on that. Very important. That's all I have for the moment, but I may come back again. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, do you mind mentioning what you used to own so people in the audience know? I mean,
I owned and operated Trinity Restaurant for 27 years. I opened and operated a restaurant on Tulip Avenue where the diner is right now, Cantina. I owned several buildings on Tulip Avenue in the past. So I'm a current resident of Floral Park. Dean is also a lifelong resident of Floral Park. So we're familiar with those business operation and living here.
Thank you.
I thought it was my additional questions. Sorry. Do you plan on any kind of a takeout service or?
It's not going to be the focus of the business, but I mean, you know, I expect people to get takeout. I mean, we don't expect to be driven by takeout, but we won't turn it away. I mean, it's going to be primarily a sit down destination.
And then do you think you'd be using any of the car services for deliveries that I mentioned before?
I won't rule it out, but I mean, you know, we have a parking lot. I mean, if there was a situation, third party deliveries, they would have to come into our property. You know, I wouldn't have them on Clayton or Covert or anything like that. You know, they'd be instructed to come into our parking lot.
That would be helpful. We already have those services being used for some of the other stores on Covert, and the dead ends end up sometimes being the place for parking, double parking, and unfortunately parking.
Just as a matter of point, sometimes you cannot stop a third party from hijacking your menu and offering delivery service, even if you've not entered into an agreement with them.
Right.
So, you know, I've been in that position where I have delivery drivers coming in asking for orders, and they were called in by someone that sounded like a local resident, and then there's a third party delivery person standing in the restaurant. So, but like I said, that's not part of our business plan. And if we have to deal with it, we'll deal with it on our own property.
And the more we can chip away at some of those issues.
I'm sorry?
The more we can chip away at some of those
Of course.
issues,
Yeah,
it'll help.
sure.
Thank you again.
Trustee Chiara?
Sure. Welcome.
Hi.
How you doing, Mike? How's everything? So on the same topic of traffic, you know, with your deliveries, where do you anticipate and what hours you anticipate your deliveries to be at the?
I mean, it's most efficient for us to get our deliveries in the morning. So, I mean, we try and get them between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. because it interferes with business. And I expect them all to be able to pull into our property. You know, I'm not saying that occasionally you'll get a driver that just decides to park on Covert, but I can't imagine any scenario other than right outside our door or inside our parking lot.
I remember the last time I think there was some discussion about off subject to garbage, and you could put a dumpster in a parking lot someplace.
On the site plan for the zoning, it's approved for a garbage area. But, you know, we've scaled back this project. I anticipate being able to manage the garbage in the building, refrigerated in the basement, and then out with the shortest period of time between pickup. I mean, what I'd like to see is we put this garbage out at 11 or 12 o'clock at night and it's picked up at 2 a.m. or first thing in the morning. But I don't expect to be able to use a dumpster in that parking lot.
They're not going to put it in there.
Right now it's not, we don't need to. I hope not to.
And any plans on having entertainment and live music in the establishment?
Not right now. I mean, I don't, it's a small place. I mean, to think that, you know, like there might be a solo singer coming in for a party or you have a DJ at brunch, you know, it's not going to be the driver of the business, but I don't expect it to. I don't expect live music, you know, a band or anything like that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Sure. Thank you.
Just going back to the dumpster for a minute. So you're saying you're not going to use that area for a dumpster, right? And if you were, you'd come back to us?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd come back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to use the dumpster there right now.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Stewart?
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm assuming based on what you just said that you're using private carding.
We'll use private carding. I mean, I've recycling. I hope, you know, if I can complement village pickup of recycling with private carding. I mean, I'm going to try and do the best to stay in business. And if I can manage my waste costs that way, I will. So, but the waste will be managed efficiently and on site.
That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thanks.
Trustee Longbody?
Welcome and lots of luck. Good luck
Thank
along
you.
the way. If I could get back to something that was mentioned earlier, as you know, I was your neighbor for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I can vouch for the fact that you are one of the best restaurant neighbors I've ever seen. You're probably the only owner I've ever seen walk the street picking up garbage on a regular basis. So
Thank you.
thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure having you back then, and I wish you a lot of luck going forward. I just want to get back to one thing with the deliveries, though. I was looking at the diagrams, and the larger box trucks that deliver. I don't see how they can go into the parking lot and go out that back entrance or do deliveries over there. And do you think they could go into the parking lot? Is there enough room for them to go in and come out? Or will, I'm just worried that they're gonna end up double parking and
Yeah.
starting causing problems.
You know, the truth is that, you know, the curb cuts are scheduled to be changed on that plan from the previous zoning. And it would probably entail the truck backing in or going in. It's not going to be able, it's unlikely to be able to maneuver, but, you know, I'd really have to discuss that with Ken. You know, so do I see a scenario where a tractor trailer would pull up in front of like Key Food, where there's usually lots of metered parking that's unoccupied, and they would come back in a hand truck? I could see that happening. I could see it happening right outside our door.
That's kind of what I was getting at and hoping that you could just work with them. And if they do come in front, don't let them sit and double park because of all the traffic problems that causes, and just get them to go up and use the hand truck.
You know,
like
I'm really proactive about that
Yeah.
because I live here, and you know, I've seen this.
I know you have been. Yeah. I've
You know,
seen you before.
it's totally disruptive. I mean, I witnessed a car accident in front of the vacant bank in Jack Walsh's a few weeks ago. I'm really aware of how congested that can be.
Yeah.
And, you know, I micromanage that kind of stuff. I'm not going to let some tractor trailer driver dictate what's going to
The other
go on.
problem is obviously if they turn down the side street, they've got
Yeah.
a bigger problem. Yeah.
Look, we don't want to accept deliveries on Clayton. I mean, I know there's Clayton Avenue residents here. I do not want Cisco trailers on Clayton because they can't maneuver in there either.
Right.
So they have to remain on covert or come onto our property. You know, I can request smaller trucks, you know, but not everything is available in a
It's not
smaller
always,
truck.
yeah.
You know, I don't want double parking, and we're not going to be accepting deliveries on Clayton Avenue. That's not going to be.
Yes, that's if you can just be mindful and work
Of
with
course,
the suppliers.
yeah.
So okay. And that's all I have. Good luck with everything.
The Clayton Avenue, there's on the drawings, there's like what looks to be a fence. Can you describe what that alleyway will or will not be used for, and what that
Well, yeah.
what that fence may be?
Deliveries come to the parking lot. If they come in the parking lot to the door, it goes right to the kitchen where they have the refrigeration on the west side of the building. So they'll come in this way, and this is just another access if there is a problem here and they had to get out. This is just a gate. It could be a single gate. It doesn't have to be a double.
But not for a vehicle.
It's not for
Not for a vehicle.
not for deliveries. It's just an egress from this back area.
So will it, if a truck pulls back there, will it egress onto Clayton, or will it go back out and around through COVID?
No, the truck will come into the parking lot if it comes into the park. And the parking lot has between the parking spaces, we have 47 feet between the parking spaces. Typically, you have 24 feet. So we have 47 feet. So we have a lot of room for even a box truck to maneuver. I was thinking with this hatched area here, they could pull right into this area, make the delivery, back out, and leave.
So that Clayton Avenue gate will not be used unless there's some.
That's like for emergency and just if let's say there's something on the sidewalk here and they need to get out there, they could just go out there and clean it up or whatever. But this little area here is more for like products coming into the building and going out. The garbage is going to also go out this way if they use a dumpster or wherever they bring it to. It's going to come out this door, not the main entrance to the building.
And Ken, with these, if we were to get deliveries before we open, then these parking spots would be empty. They really should be able to maneuver in the parking lot. I just didn't want to speak in that.
And I located the handicap parking spaces the closest to the building. There's actually one that was not drawn here, but it's like right here. And those spaces might not be occupied all the time. So the truck could just come and do the delivery in that area, you know, and leave. So.
And it should be before hours anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, we're hoping deliveries will be before operating hours, so the parking lot should be empty.
Just two quick questions. I know you're very good at these things. If you're not using the dumpster, is there an opportunity for another parking space there or no?
Maybe new landscape if I don't know.
Okay.
We'll talk to the architectural review board about that.
And where will the garbage be put out? On Culvert?
It'll go out on, it'll have to go out on Culvert or on our property, but I'll have to arrange that, you know.
It'll be on Culvert though.
It won't be
but
on Clayton.
That's
No,
that's the
no.
question. Okay.
Will not be on Clayton.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Garvin, I think you said the word hatch. What does that mean?
On the drawing is the diagonal lines,
Yes, I see it.
that hatched area.
Is that just what the diagonal lines mean? It's really a vocabulary question.
It's an area that you don't want to be parking in or driving in. It's,
So this is just asphalt.
yes.
Trustee Chiara, you have a
Yeah.
question?
Just a little bit on the outdoor seating. What are the hours are gonna be for the outdoor? When are you gonna start closing that section down?
Well, I mean, we'd be willing to live with, you know, whatever, you know, like Crabtree's, Villa d'Este, you know, I mean, something reasonable, you know, I wouldn't expect till 2 a.m., something reasonable, 10 or 11 o'clock, without, again, not amplified music or anything like that.
Okay, any other questions on the board? No? And if you don't mind taking a seat for a few minutes, and I'm gonna open it up for
Sure.
questions and comments from the audience. If anyone has a question, they could come up, state your name, address, and if you could let us know what your questions are, and we'll write them down. Then we'll have the applicants come up after everyone asks their questions and address all the questions. Good evening.
Good evening. Helen Gateson, 18 Clayton Avenue. So I'm here not so much with questions, but to present Clayton Avenue, the residents of Clayton Avenue side. It seems that, you know, the restaurant is presented its side. We want to share with you what the opening of that restaurant will do to the residents of Clayton Avenue. So, and also, you know, we have this legal, the public hearing is to hear both sides. So that's what we want to hear. Basically, the residents of Clayton Avenue oppose this restaurant in so many different ways. Mainly, this is not a commercial area where we're in. It's a residential area. To have a restaurant open till 2 a.m. in our backyards it doesn't make any sense. And again, just a reminder, Clayton Avenue is a dead end street. It is a quiet residential area. It has 14 homes on it. The residents of Clayton Avenue have lived there an average of close to 40 years. And the reason why we're there is because it is a dead-end street. It is a quiet dead-end street. On any evening on a Sunday, there are no cars going down the block, and you'd find children playing and riding their bikes. We even have movies being shown in the back at the end of the street. We have the neighbors show movies for everyone. Mr. Mayor, you recently visited Clayton Avenue. We stood in the middle of the street for about 45 minutes one summer evening talking, and not one car went down the block. That is what Clayton Avenue is all about. The opening of that restaurant would totally disrupt the life on Clayton Avenue as we know it. And the two biggest issues, we have several issues, but again, the two biggest issues is what you mentioned, is traffic and parking. Again, Clayton Avenue is a dead-end street. So every time a car goes down our block, it's like two cars going down any other block. They go one way, have to turn around in our driveways and come back. You know, we have concerns about the Uber drivers, the Lyft drivers that will wait for their fare on the corner, come down the block, turn around and go back that way. And no matter how, you can't control that. You can't stop the Uber drivers or the Lyft drivers from pulling into Clayton Avenue and stopping. The same thing with the food deliveries, the Uber Eats, the DoorDash, they'll do the same thing. And parking. You know, we have so little parking as it is. And that'll, you know, and that every time the customer, you can't stop the customers from parking on our block. Then no matter what we try to do, unless you guys decide to do something, the customers will be parking on our block. This will add to the traffic of the block as well. And all of this will be very disruptive to our lives, to the way that we've lived on that block for almost 40 years. You know, the other concern we have is the garbage. So I know the garbage is, you know, going to be frozen and kept in a freezer and stored and picked up. But the picking up of garbage is noisy. You know, we hear the garbage from Key Food being picked up, and that's a lot further than this garbage will be. This will be like in our backyard. Garbage trucks at, you know, 11, 2 a.m. picking up garbage. And also there are concerns about, you have the risks of fires, you have the odors from the restaurant, the rodents. Those are the things that you can't control. You can control it after the fact, but can't control it before the fact. So we ask to please, you know, have our concerns included in your decision-making, because you can make a decision about this. And if you, you know, go ahead and open this restaurant or agree to opening of this restaurant, then please come up with a proposal or something to prevent the traffic and the parking and all of that, to stop disrupting our quality of life. And there are several restrictions that have been placed, you know, we agree to that, but how will you enforce them? A lot of those restrictions just cannot be enforced. It'll always be after the fact. It'll be after the parking, after the accident. The delivery trucks double parking on Covert. We already have such a difficult time trying to make a left-hand turn from our block. Could you imagine what it'd be like when there's a truck double parked there on the corner? We can't get out of our block. So those are our concerns that we need to address.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Jade. How are you?
Good evening, everyone. Robert Jade, 26 Clayton Avenue. I appreciate the fact that this is a smaller scale project now, and I appreciate all the conditions that you put out. I won't repeat all the comments that Ms. Gateson just said. I agree with them all, and she did a very good job of presenting them. Parking is the number one problem for us. This is completely different hours of operation from the present use or the former use as a bank. Mostly on the weekends. We have on holidays, we're gonna have company come over. It gets tight just with us already. So again, I don't know what the answer is. I'm glad to see the 17 parking spots. We could have more if we didn't have the outdoor seating, but I know that's a thing now. So I don't know. Back to just one other thing with the parking. It was a problem when it was a bank too. Those spots right at the corner there next to the building, people used to stop in and go to the ATM. It's really no standing zone. It's a fire hydrant zone. You're trying to get out. There's someone parked there. There's someone parked at the other spots. It's a tight squeeze. I don't think anyone ever got a ticket. You know the history with residents getting tickets, but no one ever got a ticket there because people come and they go, and it causes an unsafe condition. So that's a particularly tough spot that needs to be striped out or something.
Is that currently a no standing zone?
Excuse me?
Is it currently no standing?
It is, and it's ignored routinely. So someone will be stopped there. It hasn't been a problem since the bank ATM closed, but regarding the pickups of the food delivery, it's a tempting place to pull into. Now someone pulls into the street while someone's coming out of the street. You've got a problem there. So something would have to be addressed with that. Regarding the shrubbery and the landscaping, I know this looks nice. Shrubbery and landscaping is not permanent. My neighbor, 2 neighbors ago at 503 Tulip, the big house, got a lot of, I don't know if they're variances or just, he was allowed to do a lot of stuff based on the fact that he was going to put in shrubbery to be sound buffers and visual buffers and whatnot. The shrubbery is all gone now, it's all died, but whatever he did is still there. So just, if there's a choice between shrubbery or a wall of some sort, the walls don't disappear. The shrubberies dies or people cut it down. So take that into consideration. If there's an option for that, the wall would be a better choice for long term. Anyway, thank you for that. And again, I agree with Helen said. I just won't repeat it all over again, but thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, how are you?
Anthony Mizzi, 30 Clayton Avenue. My
I'm
biggest,
sorry, excuse me, sir, did you get that? Okay, thanks.
my biggest concern is 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, at 2 o'clock in the morning, these cars are going to be closing, going down our street to get out. They're not going to go any other way. They'll come down the street, turn around, and come back. This is 2 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's sleeping on that block. It's not a main thoroughfare. It's a dead end street. That's my biggest question there. That and the idea of deliveries parked on Covert Avenue. We have a hard time getting out of that street as it is. You got a truck or a box truck parked right there. That's somebody's going to get killed there. I mean, we all know what that street is about. We've been saying for years we need a light on that street. We need a traffic light. Commissioner knows that area there. He knows how dangerous it is right there. And now we have a box truck that's going to make deliveries there. You know, it's not conducive. You know, we've gone through this once before with this. It didn't go anywhere. It's the same thing. You know, but you're treating this street like it's a main thoroughfare. And I know you're trying to do what you can do with it. There's only so much you can do, but it's not meant for us. Not meant for this village. Not on that street. You know, the parking is going to be terrible. There's a lot of what ifs here, a lot of maybes here. There are no answers to those maybes. Too many maybes. There's nothing written down exactly what's going to go on here. And then all of a sudden, everything just breaks loose. And now we're in a big thing of what's going on here. But that's all I have to say on it. You know, it's why the block is upset about it. It's not like the block wants this. They don't want it. You know, and I would think Cunningham might be the same way.
Just so you know, if it goes forward, there will be a resolution with all these conditions like I just read earlier. And at any time, if those conditions aren't met, the permit could get pulled. Not something we ever want to do, but.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. Good evening.
Dr. J. Piskin, 83 Covert Avenue. Hi, everybody. I'm very excited. I wanted Michael to know I'm very excited that we might have this potential restaurant. I've been on that corner for 38 years and looking forward to some changes. I do understand the quest that those on Clayton have. I have a couple thoughts I'd like to present. And then I just want to confirm about the parking. Did I hear correctly that Clayton and Cunningham will not have any employees being able to park on those streets?
That was one of the conditions of the previous, and they agreed to that for this one.
So that there will be no business permits permitted for anybody as well? Parking permits? Because on those two streets, we have 12-hour meters. And my employees utilize that, and we have parking permits that we purchase every quarter. So that means that the employees will not also be able to purchase permits as well as parking on those streets. I'm proposing.
But for that business.
For that business only, right. Yes. The thought about Clayton, and I understand we have the same problem pulling out from Cunningham, where Rain Dew does have trucks that many times do double park. And pulling out and making the left turn is a problem, and Clayton residents will have the same problem. Maybe the first spot should be taken away so that nobody can park there, so that they can see out to make a left turn. That is one idea. Maybe make it a handicap spot. Maybe make it a no parking for certain periods of the day, so that maybe when they're taking their children to school or leaving in the morning to go to work, that they can see to make the left-hand turn. The other,
supposing that on Covert Avenue.
I'm talking about Covert and Cunningham corner there on the north side. The other thought I had was to give the Clayton residents a day of rest of parking. Maybe on Sunday, you would have the ability to have signs that would say no parking on Clayton on Sunday from a certain time, because there will be plenty of parking everywhere else on the avenue, because most businesses are closed, including myself, that people that would be going to the restaurant would not be able to park on Clayton. That would be patrons, so that they would have the ability to have their children playing in the street, do whatever they want without having to worry about patrons coming up and down that street on that one day. That would maybe be an appeasement to those on Clayton. That's just a thought. I do think it is time for changes on Covert Avenue. I like that there's hopefully the new construction coming and starting, and we can start seeing some new faces and businesses on my avenue. I've seen too many empty stores over the years, and we need to revitalize it. So I think thinking positive about a sit-down restaurant and working with the Clayton residents would be beneficial for everybody, even those that don't live near the restaurant. I think it's long past due that we have a sit-down restaurant. Pre-COVID, we did have opportunities with Park Place, but right now we have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to take my staff. I have nowhere to meet friends on the avenue. I would like to reserve a table if I can right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you for your comments. Anyone else here in Village Hall? Good evening.
Good evening. Brad Turner, 95 Violet Avenue. I want to express my support for the endeavor, for very much what the gentleman just said. Having lived in the village now for close to 30 years, I like to see anything that brings vibrancy to the village, whether that's Jericho or what I considered an underutilized area down in Covert. And I certainly express, it was quite eye-opening to hear all the concerns about the folks who live on Clayton. That was a bit of an eye-opener. I don't live far from Tulip, so I certainly appreciate the parking situation, but I think you're probably one of the only restaurants in the area that have any parking, right, that are dedicated to them. So I think that's a huge step. And again, just I think for the vibrancy of the town, obviously the tax base, anybody that is putting that kind of investment into the town, I think we should welcome it. So I just wanted to voice my support. Thank you.
Terrence Coppinger, Primrose Avenue. Been a resident of the village for 25 years, and most of those 25 years, I've known Mike. Worked with him on a lot of charitable events and not-for-profits in the village. And while I don't live near the actual location, I do, like the other two speakers, intend to frequent it. It's a great, does add a lot of vibrancy, as someone else said, and I truly appreciate what the good doctor said. He came up and provided a lot of recommendations, and I think the residents have also come up and provided a lot of recommendations. For those of you that know me, the last thing in the world I like is a complainer. When I say, if you got an issue, come see me, but give me a resolution, give me a solution. So I think there's been a lot of solutions presented. And just from a personal perspective, I can tell you that the folks running this restaurant are probably the most approachable people in the town that you can deal with. And I've dealt with them over the years, fully supportive. And I think it'd be a great opportunity to change the face. And we had restaurants all up and down Covert. So, with delivery trucks and everything else. And I think it's something that we can manage as a town, but I also think the owners are people that are going to take a proactive measure to manage it, and fully supportive of the operation.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bob Gannon, 204 Verbena Avenue. I just would like to endorse the opportunity of a new restaurant. I do not live near that location. Obviously, I'm more centered toward Tulip Avenue, and the number of restaurants that went in Tulip recently and the estimation of what that parking issue was, it seems to, again, the issue seems to be, I do not see that. And again, being sympathetic towards what some of the people here stated, but I just want to talk from my personal aspect in dealing with the owners, specifically Michael. Michael's a lifer of Floral Park, went to OLV, used what he knew at OLV to help others when he needed it. He used that restaurant as a platform of not only his personal success, but also the success to outreach to other people in different communities who needed help during COVID, the nurses, the constant meals when his staff needed to be laid off. Mike's concern was that. Mike's got a heart of gold, understanding his concerns, but you can't find a better neighbor in this area that will work with the neighbors. Mike's flexible, and again, from a personal perspective, I'd like to endorse it. And my thought was similar to Mr. Coppinger, is if there's an opportunity where maybe you could put cones out there for those two streets for hours of from 6 on, where you have a cone, they can't come in for that parking, just reside it within the residence. Just thinking outside the box, a simple couple of cones scare some people away. But again, sympathetic towards what they were going through as well. But again, just appreciate your time and thank you.
Thank you.
I understand about being sympathetic with the neighbors, but it's not being sympathetic 2 o'clock in the morning having dinner. I don't know where that's sympathetic. Why this is open to 2 o'clock in the morning? Who eats dinner at 2 o'clock in the morning? I mean, this is ridiculous. They're going to come out at 2 o'clock in the morning and go up and down our street. I mean, I understand these people talking. They don't live on Clayton Avenue. They don't live on Clayton Avenue. If they were living on Clayton Avenue, they would be like every other neighbor on that block, saying the same thing. They're not being sympathetic. That's all I got to say. 2 o'clock in the morning is ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments in Village Hall?
Sean Farrell, 207 Plainfield. Honestly, I wasn't sure why I was coming here tonight, but after listening to the proposal of this business, I am in full support of Mike, even after listening to the challenges that it may present to the people of Clayton and Cunningham. I worked for Mike for several years, and I know he was very respectful for not only his business neighbors, but his residential neighbors that he had at Trinity for over 25 years. So I think he will. He's a man of his word. He'll do what he says to stick to the restrictions that were laid out, and try to make things a lot smoother for the neighbors and the people of Clayton and Cunningham. But I know that building's been vacant for several years. I think it's time for something to get in there. We have no banks in Floral Park anymore, so that's not going to be a possibility. But I think it's a great idea to have a nice American restaurant in there that has parking, which helps with that issue as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the Village Hall? If anyone on Zoom has any questions, raise your hand. I don't think there was any, right? No, I don't think. Mr. McGuire, Mr. Zagovin, do you want to come up and address any of those? I definitely have a couple of questions after if you want to comment.
All I can say is whatever we can do to make the residents of Clayton Avenue happy. I lived on Hinsdale Avenue. My first house was 100 yards from Butter Cookie and, all the restaurant. I understand what it's like to live next to a commercial district. And like I said, I've managed a restaurant in a residential district with a busy parking lot. So if it means that the street becomes no parking or residence or one way or whatever, whatever it takes. I mean, our business is not going to be successful because people are parking on Clayton Avenue or they're driving onto Clayton Avenue or deliveries are going to Clayton Avenue. That's not the business model. The business model is that people come and go from Covert Avenue. Our employees and our deliveries either go through the parking lot or Covert Avenue. So whatever restrictions that are going to make the people of Clayton Avenue happy as far as street and parking, the stuff that I can manage, then I'm happy to have that happen. I'm happy to participate in it. Obviously I don't have jurisdiction over the street, but whatever we can do to be a good neighbor. And I understand they've had, a very quiet block for 40 years, but we're just trying to do business in in a commercial building.
Would you be willing to agree to all deliveries have to be made in the parking lot as opposed to on Covert Avenue?
I would like to, but I don't know if it's possible. I mean, the parking lot, I don't know if it can take a tractor trailer. Like I said, there's no way I'll get a delivery on Clayton. I can't say, like, for instance, the Teamsters deliver liquor. You don't tell the Teamsters where to pull up. I mean, they pull up and they deliver. I mean, you can go out there, you can call the police, you can call the company, but I'm willing to live with any restrictions within reason, but I can't say it has to come into the parking lot if the truck can't come into the parking lot. So, like I said, I have a lot of experience, getting deliveries. I certainly don't want anything on Clayton. I certainly don't want anyone obstructing a left or right turn from Clayton. So, whatever I can do within reason, I'm willing to do.
I have an idea. Right now, the property has an in and out curb cut onto Covert Avenue. We're going to make it now just one ingress, egress for vehicles. The other one is getting closed up. Maybe in front of that other one, make that a hatched area with lines painted.
I get it.
If yeah.
Or put a meter there.
We could take that into consideration.
Yeah, we could make it a loading area. I think, is there one in front of Raindew? I think there's a loading area in front of Raindew. So if we could do a loading area, and that would be set back further than it wouldn't obstruct any vehicle's view from Clayton. It'd be set further back towards 85 Covert.
Question, I guess it came up when Mr. Jade was speaking about the wall. What was the change from a wall to landscaping, and how do you plan on upkeeping the landscaping that goes in?
Well, again, this is a restaurant. It's a restaurant where he's not going to want to have dead arborvitaes. When you pull into the restaurant, you see that, you're not going to want to eat there. We'll have it irrigated, and it'll be a densely thick hedge in a couple of years when everything grows together. If you want us to put a vinyl fence behind the arborvitaes to make it a little more dense, I think maybe we can agree to that. But the 8-foot brick wall with the foundation system was just a little bit. It was hard to come up with the cost for that.
Okay, doke. Does anyone on the board have any further questions or comments?
Yeah, I just would like to make one just to say thank you for your excellent presentation and for your willingness to seriously consider all these concerns. And thank you everyone who came out tonight to speak and comment and ask questions and offer suggestions. We will have a transcript, and before making a decision, we do take all the comments and concerns very, very seriously, and we'll work to mitigate them in any way we can.
Thank you.
I actually have another question. Sorry. Do you have any plans for valet parking?
We don't have any plans for valet parking. I guess if it ever became an issue, it would still be staged on, someone would enter a parking lot, give the keys up, and then we would valet. I mean, we have our own spots. I don't, there's no plan for that.
And if you did have that in the future, would you agree that the cars would not be parked on Clayton or Cunningham?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask for a motion to close the public hearing and reserve decision.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Walsh?
Trustee Pombana.
Aye.
Trustee Chiara.
Aye.
Trustee Stewart. Trustee Longbody.
Aye.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're gonna take a 1-minute break and we switch papers and get ready for the agenda.
Would you like me to email you the script? Okay. I have your email address, right, Kate? Okay, good. What is it? Okay.
Aren't they great? Congratulations. You want to go and talk to Kevin Ganane with me? Let's go talk to Kevin Ganane.
Are you leaving or you staying?
Thanks, Anthony. Well, good seeing you. No, you said.
No, you can have it if you want. Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll email you the legal notice and my
Yeah.
scripts, so that this way you have them, you're very welcome. No problem. Oh, thanks.
Yeah. No, we understand all that.
Oh, well, when you wear black, you know, it kind of pops. It's the summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy the rest of your summer. Okay. Do you need a hand?
I can afford that, but that was pretty good.
Yeah, no, we know, and we will.
Oh, that's all right. We'll clean it up. It's no problem.
My laptop.
Can I take 2 minutes?
Yeah.
No, I'll get it. No, I have them inside. I'll take care of it.
Disregard the-
No, it's
You know.
fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Hey, good night. Very well, thank you.
Good summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you going to Zoom? I couldn't get on the Zoom. Something's wrong with it. The settings were fine. I'm sorry, I had to use it.
Ready? Ready?
Maybe that's why it's not working?
Sorry.
Are we gonna move to the?
It's dead?
agenda?
Oh, thank you, Susan.
Before this most recent agenda, does anyone have any questions or comments specifically to any item on the agenda?
All righty. Thank you, Mayor Fitzgerald. I would ask the board to approve the minutes for local law number 2 of 2023 public hearing and the regular Board of Trustees meeting, both held on June 20th, 2023, and the work session minutes held on July 17th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
I would ask the board to approve the schedule of accounts payables as follows. As of June 30th, 2023, general fund, $1,082,522.69. Pool fund, $84,930.78. Capital fund, $4,276.27, for a total of $1,171,729.74. And as of July 13th, 2023, the general fund, $1,134,638.03. Pool fund, $68,734.80. Capital funds, $590. And for semi-grand total is $1,203,962.83 for a grand total of $2,375,692.57.
I'll offer the resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
Trustee Pombana.
Aye.
Trustee Chiara.
Aye.
Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Trustee Longbody.
Aye.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Aye.
I would ask the board to approve the request to use public facilities, subject to receipt of a certificate of insurance and sound device permit if applies as presented.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
No, unless you want me to.
A lot of good stuff.
If you'd like me to read them, I will. Okay.
A lot of good
Okay.
stuff. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
I would ask the board to authorize the refund requests as presented.
I'll offer that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
Trustee Pombana.
Aye.
Trustee Chiara.
Aye.
Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Trustee Longbody.
Aye.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Aye.
I would ask the board to approve the below listed block party applications in accordance with section 32-12D of the Village Code.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
I would ask the board to approve, to ratify and approve the stipend issuance of $6,400 to Darlene Lanza for her services in scheduling and administering the 2023 Adult Summer League program as per agreement.
I'll offer the resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Moore?
Trustee Pombana.
Aye.
Trustee Chiara.
Aye.
Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Trustee Longbody.
Aye.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Aye.
I would ask the board to authorize per diem increases for court appearances and or public hearing court reporter fees as presented.
I'll offer it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I don't think those three will be all over that.
No. Trustee Pombana.
Aye.
Trustee Chiara.
Aye.
Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Trustee Longbody.
Aye.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Aye.
I would ask the board to ratify and approve the part-time all year round park personnel salary increases as presented.
I'll offer that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Moore?
Trustee Pombana.
Aye.
Trustee Chiara.
Aye.
Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Trustee Longbody.
Aye.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Aye.
I would ask the board to approve a new member of the Floral Park Volunteer Fire Department, Paul Gopi, since he received medical, drug, and alcohol clearances and a fingerprint background check by the Floral Park Police Department.
So moved with appreciation for his upcoming service to our volunteer fire department.
I'll second it with the same sentiment.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Mhm.
Motion carries.
I would ask the board to authorize the payment of unused earned accruals for the two employees as presented.
I'll offer the resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Moore?
Trustee Pombana.
Aye.
Trustee Chiara.
Aye.
Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Trustee Longbody.
Aye.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Aye.
That would be all, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And now we will move to board reports and we will start with Deputy Mayor Pombana.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome again, everyone. Our Floral Park Police Department, always current in their training and protection and law enforcement strategies, are now in the initial stages of the implementation of the body-worn camera program. These cameras are worn by officers and enable the recording of specific occurrences in which the police are involved. This important program is used by the New York City Police, the New York State Police, and the Nassau County Police Department. Following intensive training for those FD officers who will become department turnkey trainers, in-house training and implementation have commenced for the first pilot group of officers and will be ongoing until the program is in use throughout the entire department, which will happen shortly. Thus far, feedback has been positive. The department's motor carrier safety unit or truck inspection detail continues to be busy and productive, focusing on Plainfield Avenue. At the end of June, 13 truck inspections were conducted, 38 violations were issued. Trucks and one driver were taken out of service. That's 5 trucks and one driver were taken out of service, and 1 vehicle was towed. Looking back over that 3-month period covering April to June, 36 inspections have taken place in all. 149 moving and equipment violations have been issued. And on all these inspections, trucks and drivers have been taken out of service and vehicles towed. Our motor carrier unit performs a valuable service in promoting the safe operation of trucks in our village and on Plainfield Avenue in particular. Also in the area of law enforcement, North Tyson Street residents have made FPPD aware of ongoing illegal parking at that street. So year to date, FPPD has issued 22 parking violations. Resident reporting has been vital in correcting this situation. Our police department has seen an increase in reports of check fraud recently, specifically checks that have been mailed and instead of going to the intended recipients are stolen and washed, removing pertinent information and replacing it with fraudulent names, amounts, and signatures. The Floral Park Police Department detectives, Nassau County Police Department, and the Postal Service are now investigating these incidents. This is a serious crime, and if it happens to you, Commissioner McAllister strongly urges you to file a police report. In this way, the police can track common elements and trends in these crimes and have the best chance to catch those responsible. As always, our Floral Park Police Department needs and appreciates the cooperation of our citizens in reporting crimes promptly when they occur. For the Chambers of Commerce and our businesses, for the past 2 months, we have been enthusiastically celebrating our Best of Nassau County Public Gardens Award recipient, Centennial Gardens and Bird Sanctuary, and that's for the 2nd year. And the Best Public Library of Nassau County, our own Floral Park Library, for the 3rd year. Now it's time to honor some of our businesses who are also the best of Nassau County, all of which very happily are proud members of at least one of our 2 chambers of commerce. Congratulations go to first, the Best Fitness Facility of Nassau County, Legacy Strength on Jericho Turnpike, who has also been the best in prior years. Check out their website and you'll see why. Founder Joey Olivio is a member of the Covert Avenue Chamber of Commerce. Best Dog Groomer of Nassau County, runner-up, that's 2nd place, is Jomar Grooming and Boarding on Covert Avenue. Owner Kathy Grassman is vice president of our Covert Avenue Chamber of Commerce. Best Home Organizer of Nassau County, also runner-up, is Stowe and Behold, professional organizers in Stewart Manor. Owner Tina O'Keefe is a member of both the Floral Park and Covert Avenue Chambers of Commerce. And Best Roofer of Nassau County, honorable mention, that's 3rd place, F&F Roofing on Jericho Turnpike, a Floral Park Chamber of Commerce member. Please celebrate these award-winning businesses by utilizing their Best of Nassau County services. You can read about all the Best of Nassau County winners by visiting the Blank Slate Media website at theisland360.com/contest 2023. We will continue to announce other local Best of Nassau County winners as we find out about them. In the meantime, enjoy summer as you shop and dine local in Floral Park and Stewart Manor. And for our Conservation Society, thanks to all who visited Centennial Gardens on the evening of Friday, June 23rd. The weather was good, and just over 100 of us enjoyed being surrounded by nature, music by the famous Hambones, amusing raffles, and a fun time with friends. The garden party was a wonderful way to usher in summer with special community events, including concerts at Memorial Park and on our very own library lawn, and a very special Sunflower Fest celebrating Delaney Feckert, hosted by the Feckert family and our Floral Park Knights of Columbus. These are truly best days in Floral Park.
Thank you. Trustee Chair.
Totally agree. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening. For our library, last Thursday evening, the first of 2 concerts on the lawn at the library took place. Pat Farrell and Cold Spring Band sang the best of Billy Joel songs. It was very well attended and it was a beautiful evening, and everybody that came there had a very enjoyable time. I would like to thank the town of Hempstead for providing us with their mobile stage, and of course, Pat Heron with her whole library staff to put the event together. Please save the date for the second concert on the library lawn, which will take place on Thursday, August 10th, starting at 7 p.m., with a rain date of Thursday, August 17th. Bobby Sings Bobby will be there to entertain the audience. As always, please check the library website for many of the upcoming scheduled events for the month of July. The new door for the library has been installed, now making it handicap entrance accessible. Thank you to DPW staff for helping with the installation of that door. For our fire department, the June statistics for our volunteer fire department are as follows. There are 110 calls for service, 5 mutual aid calls assisting our neighboring communities, 89 ambulance calls, 73 of which were answered by NYU Langone, and 16 for our rescue company. The department is constantly and continually training, even during the summer months. We thank them for their service to our community and wish them and all of us a safe summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Chiara. Trustee Stewart?
Hi. Good evening. For our DPW, our Department of Public Works crews are out and about in the village every day performing vital tasks that keep our beautiful village both safe, clean, and beautiful. In recent weeks, the DPW highway team has swept all roads, crews performed road repairs with hot patch, filled potholes in various locations around the village, replaced aging and faded street signs, and has striped Carnation Avenue after the new paving. The DPW Parks team maintained and weeded all parks and village parking lots. Hanging baskets and flowers were watered, roses and lilies were planted in Kramer Park. The tree department trimmed and maintained village trees. Maintenance crews cleaned and maintained all village buildings and are constantly cleaned and maintained. Excuse me. The maintenance crews tiled in the bathroom in the library basement after some water damage occurred. They installed the front doors in the library and primed and prepped the back doors for a coat of paint. In just the last week, the sanitation crews picked up over 80 tons of household waste, 16 tons of paper, and 9 tons of recyclable materials. The following roads have been recently paved as part of the National Grid project. Carnation Avenue between Floral Parkway and Verbena between Carnation and Rose, not Rose. Hawthorne Avenue between Bryan and the City Line, Bryan Avenue between Emerson and Hawthorne, and Harvard between Nassau and Lexington. The road reconstruction project for both Clayton Avenue and Hinsdale Avenue officially began today. Last week, I, along with Deputy Mayor Pombano and Superintendent Kevin Canane, met with the arborists, contractors, and road project engineer to revisit the trees on both streets in an effort to save as many trees as possible. Superintendent Canane had his crews pull the curbs last week so the engineer and the arborist could get a better look at the roots and see what could be done. Through this effort, we will be able to take down at least one less tree. While the number may seem insignificant, the saving of one tree has a positive impact. Today, approximately 5 trees were cut down at Clayton Avenue. I visited Clayton this afternoon. Everything appeared to be in working and professional manner. Many thanks to Deputy Superintendent Joe O'Grady for his watchful eye over this project throughout the day, in the rain and the sun and the 4 seasons we seem to have experienced today. The tree crews will pivot to removing trees on Hinsdale Avenue once the tree removal on Clayton is complete, and then the reconstruction will occur in that same order. All residents will be kept informed through the project, and we are hoping for a seamless transition to 2 beautiful, safe new roads. For the MTA and the Long Island Railroad, thanks largely to the nonstop efforts of Village Administrator Bamberg, the village is inching ever closer to having the MTA hold up its end of the memorandum of understanding. Both parties entered into at the very start of the third track project. We hope to have more detailed information in the very near future. Along the same line, senior officials from the MTA have told the village that the Floral Park Station renovation will be a part of their next 5-year capital plan extending from 2025 to 2029. For those of us that are closer to retirement, it's not so exciting, but for those of you who just started your career traveling in on the railroad, it's very exciting news. It is very exciting for all of those who use the railroad for both work and entertainment. Just 2 days ago, I entered a complaint regarding lights that were out under the station as a private citizen using my personal email address. Yesterday, I received an email from the MTA customer engagement team explaining that my report had been shared with their technicians and an inspection would be forthcoming. Please visit the mta.info and scroll to the bottom to contact us to lodge your complaints or concerns regarding your railroad service. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, trustee Stewart and trustee Longobardi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening again, everybody. For our building department, an update on some of the buildings and projects around town. Centennial Hall plans have been submitted to the county for site plan approval. The permit for demolition of the existing building has been issued, and that work is expected to start soon. Covert Avenue Fire Property is expecting to start the foundation work shortly. The demolition work is completed. Taco Bell is finalizing all permit and health department sign-offs and will open once staffing is completed. 266 Jericho Turnpike is being cleaned out at this time. It will take a few weeks. Once that's done, engineers will evaluate the structure and the building to move forward. The multi-purpose rink surface issues with the paint have been reviewed by the manufacturer's representatives and the contractors. Methods to fix the issues have been proposed and are under review. And a reminder to residents that all permanently installed air conditioning and heat pump units require a permit and have zoning requirements regarding the placement of the outdoor units. Permits must be filed prior to installing these units. Please call the building department for help and assistance with this. For our pool and recreation, in the District 29 Little League Tournament, congratulations to our 12U Division Ladies Softball team and our Junior Division Ladies Softball team, both our 2023 District 29 champs. Congratulations. It's hard to believe we're already at the halfway point of the pool season. Come down, cool off, and enjoy the pool with neighbors and friends. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, 7/19, is rollback night with D&J refreshments. Sunday, July 23rd is Residence Day, and Friday, July 28th is a guest favorite with Top Your Own Sunday night. Summer activities are going well in the park with tennis, basketball, volleyball, and more. Just come down and enjoy some great events and some great games with your neighbors and spend some time. And many of us have been talking about the airplane noise as we relax in our backyards or living rooms. It is part of life living here a few miles from several major airports, as well as increased flights due to summer vacations and the noise from our open windows in the summer adding to what we hear. In the town of Hempstead, we have the Town Village Aircraft Safety and Noise Abatement Committee, also known as TVASNAC. Its mission is to promote health, safety, and quality of life for the residents of the town of Hempstead by reducing aircraft noise. Floral Park is fortunate to have our own resident and neighbor, Andrew Weiss, on this committee working for this goal. This committee, on behalf of the residents, advocates its concerns to the FAA as well as the New York and New Jersey port authorities to find ways to reduce the aircraft noise flying over our communities. This committee meets once a month and is currently going around the town of Hempstead to meet in different communities and discuss the issues with the residents. I've talked with Andrew, and Floral Park plans to host one of these meetings in the fall here at Village Hall. These meetings will help educate residents on what the committee does, issues they are fighting for on our behalf, and discuss any questions you may have. Date and details for the Floral Park meeting will be determined soon. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, trustee Longobardi. Thanks for the update with TVASNAC, and I believe there's an upcoming meeting in Valley Stream that might.
Yes, I apologize. At July 31st is the meeting in Valley Stream.
Thank you. For my report, just a little further on the MTA and their the upgrades to the Floral Park train station. They will be here sometime in the fall, looking through the station and to what degree the upgrades are needed, and they will then put those proposals into the 2025-2030 capital campaign, which hopefully will be approved at that time. But aesthetically, it certainly needs a facelift. And I guess infrastructurally, if that's such a word also, if you look at the bottom, there's a lot of rebar showing, which, that's not going to last forever. With that, I'd like to close this portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And now open up for any comments or questions. Nobody on Zoom, right, Dolly? Mr. J, thank you for coming out this evening. Appreciate the comment. Thank you for coming out this evening. It's been a long night, I know. Thank you. Okey-doke. Thank you. Have a good evening.